Many of you guys know me. Most of you know who I am. My face is huge around here, it's everywhere. Literally huge. Have you guys seen the poster? It's this big. I hate it. Well, here I am. Bib and Terp major. Don't have to do this, but I'm here. So, man, I asked myself, why am I here? I asked that a lot. But I've been asking that since before I even came here. It's a question I've asked myself my entire life. Why am I here? Why am I here on earth? My parents adopted me. Why am I here with my family? Why am I this blessed? In times of doubt, I ask, why am I here? In times of glory, why am I a part of this? So yeah, that's the basic theme for the message. The theme for the year has been Galatians 2:20. Do you guys know it by heart by now? You should. It's a good one. So let's get started. Why am I here? Why am I here? Well, let's start with why I'm here at NCC. I didn't start here. I started at UNL, about 45 minutes that way. And straight out of high school, I decided, could either come to NCC and do music or go to UNL and possibly make six figures and do the computer science thing. So, six figures sounds pretty good. So I did. And I went there. First semester, it's pretty good. I had a girlfriend. She went to Wesleyan, which is also in Lincoln. And it was great. Go hang out with her, 3-4 days a week. Do my class stuff. And then end of October came around. Week after my birthday, girlfriend says, "Hey, we need to talk." Those words, it's the worst. Worst 4 words you can hear. We need to talk. And I got there and I'm thinking, why am I here? And then she told me, "You don't care about me. You like to hang out, but that's it." I was not a good boyfriend. So we broke up. And the next 3 months, going into the next semester, was hell. I didn't think it could get any worse. Then the next semester happened. Stopped going to church. Stopped doing my homework. Still did all right in the classes, just not as good as I could have. And it was hell. And one day in February of 2009, I was sitting in my chair at my desk, thinking, could this get any worse? Why am I here? I'm sure plenty of you have had those thoughts before too. Nothing is going for me. Everything seems against me. I was broken. I was depressed. I struggled with that my entire life, depression. But this is probably one of the bigger points that I ever felt it. I was sitting there playing Bejeweled, keeping my mind out of life, off of homework, off of girls, off of friends. Just playing Bejeweled. I'd been doing it for 5 hours. Yeah, 5 hours. It's pretty sad. But then it hit me. Why am I here? What can I do to get out of this? Why? So let's go to Matthew 19. The rich young man. Behold, the young man came up to him, Jesus, saying, Teacher, what good deed must I do to have eternal life? And he said to him, Why do you ask me about what is good? Why? There's only one who is good. If you would enter life, keep the commandments. He said to him, Which ones? And Jesus said, You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness, honor your father and mother, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. The young man said, I've kept all these. What else is there to do? I think the young man was in the point of this chair. He'd been doing everything right. I wish I could have said that. Wish I could have said I've been doing everything right. But there's something missing from what this guy has said, and I think Jesus nailed it on the head with what he didn't say. Let's look at that list again. You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness, honor your father and mother, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. What's missing? What's missing from that list? Can you say that louder? God is missing. The young rich man was focusing on what he could do. There aren't 10 commandments in that list. First one, especially missing. He was putting himself before God. He was leaving God entirely out of the picture. I was leaving God entirely out of the picture. I'd put myself in a situation that God wasn't a part of. Let's trace it back a little bit. My junior year, CIY. I raised my hand for those who felt called to a life of ministry. Now, this was the summer before my senior year, so we don't have any discrepancies. I knew deep within me that God had made me for ministry. In my senior year, I ignored it. Completely ignored it. Threw it aside. Thought, if I get involved with the church, do that kind of thing, I'll be fine. But is fine okay? Is fine what I want? Is fine what you want? God had made me, given me a set of talents, the way I am, for ministry. And I knew that, but I didn't show it. My decisions prove that. So when I was sitting there in that chair, thinking, why am I here? I put myself here. Amidst all the desperation, I put myself here. And then an amazing moment happened. God gave me 2 words. It's the only time I've ever heard the voice of God in my head. Help people. He gave me that answer. Why am I here? To help people. Now I knew I couldn't help people sitting behind a computer all day, every day. I couldn't help them to the extent that God wanted me to. So I decided then, better apply to NCC. Applied, a week later, acceptance letter. So I started making my way back to where it should have been. So that answers the question of why I'm here at NCC. But for those of you who haven't had that solid affirmation to be here, you've already made a sacrifice in being here. I mean, college isn't cheap. And especially going to this college, that's not, it's spiritually taxing to be here. You invest yourself in so many things. It's not cheap. It's emotionally taxing. It's spiritually taxing, monetarily taxing. But I didn't come here alone. You see, in my months of desperation, I had started visiting the college because I knew here was a community. It's building on a hill. What is it, the second tallest hill in the county? It's pretty cool. We got a pretty good view of the city. But I came here because of people like this guy right there, Drew Milliken. Known him forever. Good friend. But he was loving, accepting. I felt at home when I visited here. During that time, I spent more weekends here than I did in Lincoln because of the people. I was not doing this alone. I was not doing this alone. You don't have to do this alone. So why am I here as a bib and terp major? Why am I here? Galatians 2:20. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. In the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. I crucified that life. I crucified my choice. I probably could have done all right if I would have stayed connected, if I would have come through in the deal. But just like the young rich man, I was relying on myself. I was relying on what I could do to make things work. I don't know if I can tell you enough times, it didn't work. It won't work if you try it on your own. The life I now live, I live in faith. I live in faith. Faith in what? That I'll have a better tomorrow? In days of desperation? Yes. On the good days? A better future? Looking longer than that? Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's good. I like thinking about things that are better. How about you guys? Do you always look forward to a better day? There's one word in there. Life I now live. Now. The faith that I have is that God is with me now. God is with us now. In the here and now. He's in control. The life I now live, I live in faith. So why am I here? It's not to serve my own purposes. It's because I'm here to help people. And I try and live my life by that. I would encourage you to do the same. Don't do it alone. It won't work. Don't do it by your own power. It ain't going to work. Live your life in faith of today, the here and now. Because God is here now. The young rich man walked away. We don't know what he did with his life. It doesn't say. I like to ask the question, why was he there? Why was he walking up to Jesus? Did he feel the same problems? Do you feel the same problems? Do you want to go up and ask Jesus, what can I do? But he missed it. He missed it. The life I now live, I live in faith. Why did Jesus come here? He had it all made. I like to think Jesus came here to say, I've been there, I've done that. Jesus sat in the garden crying out in desperation. Take this from me. I don't want to do this. I can equate that to that. Not to that extent, but I didn't want to continue on the way it was going. But Jesus didn't either, and that's why he did it. Easter's on the way. But Easter's also here and now, because Jesus is here and now. Now, I was made to be in the ministry. I think we all were made to be in the ministry. That's why we're here. Don't be the Eeyore trying to build your house. Every time it falls down. Whether it's water coming, washes it away. Whether it's just the fact that you're sitting in it, falls right down on you. Don't be the Eeyore. Live your life in faith, in hope of the here and now. Because it's worth it. You may not feel it all the time. But like I said before, God is in control. He is the all-powerful. But he came down to say, we can do this. Not you can do this, but also not that he can do this. He came down to say, we can do this. And if we make him our priority, like I didn't, I'm not saying things will get easier. That never happens. The days in ministry when things are easy are few and far between. And ministry is just as taxing as being here, emotionally, spiritually. That doesn't go away. But I live my life in hope, in faith, in the here and now, that God is with me. He is in control. I have been crucified with Christ. And the life I now live is in faith.